Hi everyone, welcome to Bonnie Carolee Makes Cards. Today's card features Spellbinders Trefoil tile and panel die set. The panel die cut will be modified to create an A2 size background, so let's get started. I began by die cutting 2 panels from matte gold cardstock. I placed the die cuts over a 4 1/4 inch by 5 1/2 inch piece of cardstock just to judge how much had to be trimmed down. I used the guillotine cutter to remove the thin frame on the inside of both of the panels. Tombow glue was dotted on the back and left to completely dry. When this glue is dry, it is tacky and repositionable. This will make lining up the 2 die cuts much easier. While the glue is drying, I ink blend my Bristol Smooth cardstock panel. The panel is just a little bit wider than 4 1/4 inches, just to give me a little bit of wiggle room when the die cuts are going to be adhered to it. I want the ink blend to radiate from the tile openings. Working with Distress Oxide inks, I begin by using the die to apply peacock feathers. Cracked pistachio is applied around the peacock feathers and then finished up on the outside edges of the panel with lucky clover. I spend some time re-inking each of the areas and overlapping the colors until I have a smooth blend. While the panel is drying, I die cut the tiles. I struggle to find my favorite matte gold cardstock, and so I conserve where I can. So I am making use of the cutouts from the Trefoil panel die cut. There are 3 tile detail dies that come with this set. They are accompanied with an outline die. For this card, I will be using 2 of each. I use a little bit of tape to hold the 2 dies together. Both the detail and the panel dies are quite intricate. When passing them through the die cutting machine, I roll backwards and forwards several times to make sure that I get a good clean cut. The tiles are also die cut out of black sheet foam so that they will have dimension on the card. Like the panel, the back of the tiles are dotted with Tombow glue and left to dry. The tacky and repositionable gold tile is easy to stack on the foam. After the 2 tacky panels have been attached to the ink blended background, the tiles are glued on. I'm sorry I missed filming when I attached the 2 panels, but just a reminder that the ink blended background was just a little bit wider, and so I did have to trim off the excess. The tacky Tombow glue really did make it easy to line up the centers where the 2 panels met. The panel was attached to an A2 size card base with regular glue. A small panel was ink blended with the peacock feathers and lucky clover for the sentiment. 2 sentiments were used from Spellbinders calligraphy hearts to foil on this ink blended panel. They were stacked on foam and adhered to the card. For the second card, the ink blending was done with dried marigold and spiced marmalade. The same detail die was used for all of the tiles on this card. The die cut sentiment for this card is from Spellbinders Daydreaming. It is cut out of both black foam and matte gold cardstock and stacked. And that wraps up this pair of cards using a panel die to create a full A2 size background featuring Spellbinders Trefoil tile and panel die set. As always, I appreciate your visit.